And welcome to the pregame hangout with the cast of Greymantle. This would be the fourth episode of our first little arc, and it's gonna be awesome. As I was warning all of these people beforehand, I am doing a bunch of Roll20 stuff, so I'm gonna rely on them to be doing content. So take it away, others.
Quick, entertain.
Oh dear.
Quick.
Yes, I can do this. Okay.
We can go back to talking about Star Wars. That's fine.
Okay, good.
I mean,
Like 80% of the 80% of the
time.
time, 80% of the time before a show starts, we have just been talking about Star Wars or something like that.
Good.
It's not wrong.
I
It's
have
not
something
wrong.
to say, and it's
Good.
been eating me up
all
for
right.
years.
All right.
I am
Wonder
so mad that the prequel trilogy was the plot of a tragedy and filmed like a buddy cop film.
You are not
Yeah.
wrong.
So
No,
mad
no,
about that.
that's reasonable.
That is valid. That is valid.
Like, I am so mad it took multiple years and an animation team to go, hey, let's actually delve into the tragedy of the Clone Wars, for them to go, you know, we really dropped the ball on the prequel.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh,
I think to some extent the Clone Wars kind of redeems the prequels in a way.
Yes.
yeah.
Like it made it all make a lot more sense. And that's a silly thing to say, probably because the Clone Wars started coming out while the prequels were still going on, right? Isn't that the case? I don't
No,
remember
think it
exactly
was
the
just
date.
The tail end of the third movie had come out and been out for
Yeah, it
think
was
a
definitely
year?
post trilogy.
Okay.
maybe 2 years at that point. But the point is, it came out and it was just like, this is what we wanted out of the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Why-
what we wanted.
why?
You could have your moments of fun
Why?
and humor, but
Yeah.
also like the gut punches that we wanted and needed.
Yeah. Why didn't you give this to us?
I still have not finished watching the Clone Wars. I tried real hard to
Season
get into the
7.
first season and
Just-
did not. And everyone's like, no, it is one of those shows where you have to power through the first little bit and then you'll. And I
First
just have
season
not.
was bad.
Yeah.
I've just
yeah,
not
no.
managed to do that because
It-
it's not my era. Like I am Rebels era, OT era. Like give me that moment where Princess Leia might make a cameo. Like the whole reason I ever started watching Rebels was somebody sent me a screenshot of Leia, and I'm like, oh, you have my attention. So I am very.
Yeah.
I say I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm an original trilogy fan. Mostly, I'm a Leia Organa fan.
That's
so.
fair. Valid.
This
yeah,
tracks.
that's valid. That's
So
valid.
if, yeah,
tracks.
right. You've met me. So
I
if
have.
no one who interacts with Leia throughout the course of their life is in the show, I am probably not going to be interested. I'm waiting to watch Andor until all of the episodes are out because I know if I watch it while it hasn't, like I can't binge the whole thing, I'm just going to wind up saying very foul words at my television.
Yeah.
Waiting for the next episode. That's what I did with Kenobi, and that was absolutely worth waiting for. So.
Oh yeah, Kenobi
I-
was.
Yeah, and then Hasbro announced the little Lola droid, and I'm like, shut up and take my money. So
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of speaking of streaming stuff, at least streaming because I stream it. I've been watching the new Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, yeah.
I
I was
want
going to check that out, but
It's-
haven't done so yet.
It is so far. It's pretty stellar. I'm loving it. Like the
Okay.
tweaks and all. Like
is it adequately gay?
it is supremely gay. Like openly,
Okay.
supremely sleeping in the same coffin, definitely having sex with each other gay.
Okay, that's what I need. That's what I needed from Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise that they did not give me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like even like Louis at one point even talks about being a gay man in the 1920s. Like it's
Okay.
it's phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean,
uh,
yeah.
And they've even made Claudia a far more nuanced character. She was very much just kind of like crazy murder child in the movie.
I mean, but I liked that.
I did like the crazy murder child, but I actually I'm really digging Claudia in the adaptation. They did
Okay.
age her up.
Okay.
She's I think she turns into a vampire at like 14. in the show. I am not as familiar with the book as I might like, so I don't know what the ages were there, but she's definitely a little cracked, definitely vicious, but I'm liking the nuance of the character.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the finale. There's a scene at the end of the most recent episode though that's just on point. It involves her playing a game of chess with Lestat, and just this back and forth between them. And I won't spoil it too much, but it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I gotta check it out at some point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's definitely on my list. So the film adaptation from the 90s is like a formative memory for me
Mhm.
because I was 16. I was not 17 and it was rated R. And so getting into a movie theater to see it was like a whole adventure.
Hmm.
Because they kept carding us. And I'm like, but it's Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in the gay vampire book. Come on. And yet they wouldn't let me in. So
Yeah, I don't know though. Like,
I had read the book. I'm from the Gulf Coast. I used to go to New Orleans for dinner.
Mhm.
So like the Anne Rice vampire and also Sleeping Beauty books were like very formative to my teen years. I read them a lot, and it was angry making that people were gatekeeping this film from me.
mhm. But yeah, it's so far it's been fantastic. Like the honestly, the casting all around has been phenomenal. I'm loving the Lestat. He is just fantastic. Kind of that all those sorts of things that I really love about the character. Just kind of like really embodied in this. He's properly French. Like French,
That is
like
good.
accent and everything. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
gotta
in.
check it out
I'm
at some
in.
point.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even mind the changes. The big changing. They changed I think it opens up in like very early 1900s instead of the kind of, what was it, 18 something.
It was 17 something when
17 something.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they pushed it up. Obviously, Louis is black in the new interview, and they've actually handled it all really well. And I understand the decision to change the character because it's hard to root for colonial slash I think it's either colonial or Civil War era plantation owner
Mm.
Yeah,
as a sympathetic figure.
Yeah, they were colonial era slavers and
Mhm.
yeah, and like Louis was supposed to be the sympathetic one, but he owned like hundreds of slaves until he realized he
Yeah.
was evil and freed the 10 that were still alive. Like Louis was I like a complicated, morally ambiguous character, but I appreciate that
But
they
shouldn't be
chose
morally
to make
ambiguous.
that change,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and this Louis is still fairly morally complicated. He's someone who did still have was on the wealthier end. They worked about they worked Creole heritage into the character, and he's kind of been kind of skating through this middle ground on the Creole heritage, and basically he owns a bunch of brothels and kind of to kind of keep the family comfortable. Much to the chagrin of at least one of his siblings in the opening. But it's really interesting. And I dig how they've handled it. So he
I
does
like
still
that.
have
I like that they removed the pre-vampire evils from
there's an argument to be made for other pre-vampire evils, obviously, but even then, they've made it a little more palatable. I think.
No, I think that was a good choice. I think it was interesting.
Yeah.
And a good solid choice.
Yeah.
I do feel bad though for like the Gen Z people that are going to see this show and decide to read the book.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that because Yeah.
Just don't go write any Interview with a Vampire fan fiction, or Anne Rice will haunt you.
I mean, so this is
As
As will her
fantastic.
lawyers.
Let her.
No, this is fantastic. So AMC and the show's like official Twitter announced that they made a partnership with a phone app that allows you to create your own kind of like visual novel style stories in this phone app, and they've set it up so that you can do that with official assets and Interview with the Vampire characters. So they have made a legal way to do Interview with a Vampire fan fiction on this app.
And they are absolutely being haunted as we speak. So I once went to a party in one of Anne Rice's houses.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend from theater camp, as all of my teenage stories begin, who was friends with Chris
This
Rice
also tracks.
in high school. I was in New Orleans for, I don't even remember why, because I lived 2 hours from there. Why not go to New Orleans? It's right there. And Margot, I was like, hey, I'm in town. This is like the early days of cell phones. We all had that like big brick where you had to like go like that to get the antenna to come out of it. And I called Margot, hey, I'm in town. What are you doing? Like, do you want to hang out? And she's like, well, I'm going to a party, but you guys can come. And I'm like, sure. What's the address? And so then we get out like the map and we unfold it and we find the house, and it's in the Garden District, and we park and we walk up there, and it's only later that I find out that this is Chris Rice's party, and this is a house owned by Anne Rice. Because my life is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't know that I ever met him. I don't know, like, but I was in a house that was owned by Anne Rice once, and I will forever have that story to tell live on stream for
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I do have thoughts on the whole the stance on fan works. I'm actually generally a huge proponent of fan works because, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, but so I'm cackling over here about the my favorite. I think
I was just gonna say, I got my start. Most of my writing that I do is fan fiction at this point. Like, people who want to crack down on that stuff, I'm just like, we aren't friends. Please stay out of my life.
Yeah, well, like, as long as people aren't like, I definitely like, as long as people aren't like trying to monetize it.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
No.
But that's why, like, okay, so segueing, this is why when I started working on Greymantle, it was because I wanted an outlet for these story and character ideas that I had for like Shay, for instance.
Yeah.
That I couldn't really do much with other than like make, fan fiction. And I wanted to like do more. I wanted to be able to have that creative freedom to actually like expand and maybe sell my stuff maybe at some point. So that's why I started working on this, because at Eric's encouragement, really, because I was kind of like grumping to him privately about it.
Yep, I recall. Well, and I kept, okay, it's partly my fault because I kept encouraging you to, try your own thing, come up with your own setting and your own stories and whatnot, because it would give you a lot more creative freedom. And you fought me on it for a long time, but eventually you gave in.
Yeah.
And then you created this amazing thing. So let that be a lesson to all of you. Create your own stuff. It's usually, better than, this setting that you otherwise love. So,
I mean, I'm not going to make any claims.
Yeah. And it worked out okay.
It worked out great.
Like, I'm not going to make any claims about any one setting being better over the other, but this is something that definitely allows me to do what I want, instead of, sitting around on my hands and hoping that someday, just things change and maybe I can write the stories that I wanted to write in the first place. Now I can just write other stories and write them here and play games with people, because this would not exist if it weren't for that. So I'm definitely grateful because I've been having a blast.
And it's fantastic. And I'm not saying I've started sketching out fan fiction in this setting or anything thing. But yeah, I'm just gonna. Mhm.
Yep, it's all good.
Don't
Greymantle
mind me.
is ripe for fiction of all kinds. I mean, well, I have published a good number of novels, and I as well endorse fan fiction as a pursuit. I encourage everyone to try it out because I think it is a great way to, you know, teach yourself how to write and try out stories and things and come
Yeah.
to, you know, develop your own voice and your own style. I mean,
sure.
that's what I did, but it was
Same.
20, 25 years ago. And I wrote a thing that's terrible and no one will have to ever read it ever, ever, ever. So, you know, don't worry about it.
I was on a thing at Star Wars Celebration with Claudia Gray, and she said, you know, the first million words are just for practice. I'm so glad mine were all about Mulder and Scully kissing.
Yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
like, great. I read that. I remember that.
That
See,
sounds about right.
I'm always the weird I feel like I'm weird, at least in the space of like fan works, where whenever I would find a property that I really liked that like inspired me to write things, I wouldn't generally write about the established characters. I would create original characters and place them in that setting, you know, to interact I guess it just gave an opportunity to interact with stuff with a little more freedom because
Yeah.
you know you're not as bound by the character traits and the already existing relationships. I mean, some of my favorite stories that I've told with, you know, working just writing little drably Forgotten Realms stuff on the side was, you know, the stuff that I like, you know, I would take a character I made and drop them, you know, in this city here, that city there, in the middle of nowhere, and just kind of like come up with a little adventure or story for them. It's you know, even Star Wars, like I'd vastly prefer creating my own characters and getting to explore the universe from these eyes that at least I have more of an understanding of.
Yeah.
And it's fun though. It's fun stuff.
I've dropped several iterations of myself on the Starship Enterprise over the years. That has happened.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like they're not always like quote unquote self-insert characters. They're like I do have a few characters that I've created over the years that are like that borrow heavily from my own personality traits. But you know, others are very different people from me, and I find that just as fun. And I think that's kind of why I realized like, oh, I want to do this. I want to write. I want to, you know, make these stories because I enjoy creating these situations, creating these characters, putting them in these weird whatever, and I kind of apply one a term to some of my writing characters that I do to some of my role play characters, which is suffer puppet.
Yes.
Suffer puppet.
No, it's absolutely true. Yeah, that's. I
Like
live in constant dread of being isekai'd into the Forgotten Realms and meeting my characters who would then figure out who I was and immediately try to kill me.
Yeah.
Like even the lawful good ones would be like, you did what to me?
You took
It's
who from
on.
me?
That's
Mhm.
right. That's right.
Oh, you're responsible.
Yeah. So on the one hand,
It's your
really
fault,
fun to
then.
write that way, but like also like that's one of those recurring like random like it's probably not gonna happen ever. But one of those weird, bizarre little fears I have of, but what if it did though?
What if it
I'd be
did?
fucked.
Yeah, like I know that there's a few characters that are like more along the lines of like not carbon copies, but very similar to myself. And I just feel like if I met them, it'd be like, wait, so I'm you. What is wrong with you? Like, why would you put yourself in these situations?
I would just be constantly apologizing to people and be like, I'm so sorry.
You know what you did, Eric.
I do.
You know what you did.
I know what I did, and I
Oh, yeah.
have no actual remorse. Like that's all a front to try and survive.
There'd be the characters that I'm like, I actually am genuinely sorry for what happened because I'm not sure what happened when I was writing that. Like every time I tried to write you a happy ending, you kept fucking it up. And then sometimes it'd be, okay, hey buddy, let's talk. Let's talk about this. Maybe don't kill me. I don't know what would happen to you if you were to kill me. Like
I've got the one character who everybody else was giving happy endings to, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna break the hero. And yeah, he would have strong words for me, I think. Yeah. He doesn't know any strong words, but he would learn them too.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, I made him suffer a little bit. Not nearly as much as you did, obviously.
For 2 pages, I make him suffer for 2 books.
Yeah.
And then there will be a 3rd book in which he suffers. I mean, then the murders begin. So yeah.
I mean, if anyone has been looking at the novella I've been working on, I'm not exactly being all that kind to Sparrow, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. That's fair.
But it's funny.
It
yeah.
is funny. There's this moment. There's this moment I dig in the. I just put out the 3rd chapter, and I'm there's a moment I dig in it that just like it's just this thing of negotiating back and forth between the two kind of central characters, Sparrow and Reynard, and they both kind of like have each other over a barrel, and it's fun to watch it play out. And I just Sparrow kind of gets what she wants, but not in the way she wanted. So it's you know.
And now, Allie, you've teased this for the viewers. This is available on Patreon, correct?
Yes, it is. This is available on Patreon.
Hey.
Hey, plug.
I will help you do a capitalism, my friend.
Yes. I put these up. At the very least, I try to get one up. I get a chapter up every other month, with goodies coming in the intervening months. But I'm trying to ramp up the pace a little bit. Yeah, when these chapters come out, it's you can sign up for it's like literally $1. $1 is the lowest tier. So yes, check it out. First chapter's free. Then you gotta pay. But
First one's always free.
Yes. But yeah, I'm having fun writing it, at least. So I've got plans. I got stuff that's happening.
Cool. So we're going to try and use Roll20 this time. And I have been diligently working on this map here. I think you'll enjoy.
I believe you.
Believe in you. Belief.
Excellent. Okay, now where are all the corpses? Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I think I did.
The dead guys. Honestly, I would not even be surprised if we walked in on something and it's just like, well, this is now a thing we have to solve, I guess. At least enough to not get dead ourselves.
That is possible, yeah.
My brain is like mush right now.
Put some
So,
things in
you know.
wrong.
Yeah, I feel
I-
that.
I stayed up at the NaNoWriMo regional kickoff the other night, which I should not have done, and like wrote 2,000 words at midnight. And I am too old for that, it turns out. So yeah, I'm still like recovering from this kickoff of NaNoWriMo.
That's
So
fair.
Halloween night, I'm sitting there, me and my friends got together for our home game, and we finally sat down and finished off the campaign. We've been picking at it for 3 years. We finally finished it off. It was 1:30 before we were done.
Nice.
And I'm just sitting here going, oh my goodness, I'm glad it ended this way, but also I'm a zombie and I'm still a zombie from then. Like, it's been rough.
Yeah.
So
Don't
yeah.
know how I did it in college.
I've had
Well,
those kind of experiences too.
I
I know what
do-
you're talking about.
I do believe we have to go to our break.
We
now.
do. I
Oh,
just
yeah,
looked
that's
too.
true,
I
that's true.
saw. Okay.
All right, Yang Yang. He's our timekeeper. He is very, very much about time, and I've been delaying, and I'm gonna make his head explode. So we'll be back in a couple minutes. Don't go away.